Matt Letizia, Gordon Watson, Nigel Spackman, Neil Maddison, Francis Benali. 5 footballers, 5 questions, 1 philosopher. Football versus philosophy continues. Hello and welcome to Football versus Philosophy, the show that pits 5 footballers against some of the greatest minds of all time. Each footballer has to answer 5 football-themed philosophical questions, but there's a catch. They only have 1 minute to answer each one. Their answers will be marked by philosophy expert Gary Farnell, who will give them 0 points, 1 point or 3 points for each one, forming the Football versus Philosophy League table. So let's take a look at who's taken part.
I don't know why they don't just make the penalty spot the size of the whole pitch.
Yeah, but Plato would argue about anything.
Nobody touches him, he goes down. He even fell in his bath the other day as well, and he, got booked for diving.
Can we do that again? It's gone. Quite confused. Not my normal question that I'd normally receive.
Who will be more dappy than Nietzsche, more Joey Essex than Plato? It's time to find out in Football versus Philosophy. Matt Letizia has already sealed first place, but the competition for second is heating up. It's nip and tuck. Let's see what part 4 has in store for the players. Look at this football. I mean, really look at it. It's not perfect, is it? It's a bit bruised, it's got a scratch in it. But according to Plato, there's a perfect version of everything in another dimension. So I ask our footballers, is it possible to create the perfect football? Gary, over to you to run us through what you're hoping to see before we move on.
I'm sure the ideal footballer's response to that philosophical question will be the perfect football is the one that ends up in the back of the net every time I kick it.
I don't think you can say that you've ever built the perfect football, to be honest with you. I think everyone will always be improving upon it. I think every time a World Cup comes around, we get a new version of a football which is rounder than the last version, a few more dimples here and there, and I think there will always be improvement, and that's why I think world records in athletics, they never stand forever. Every major world record that's ever been set in athletics gets broken, and I think it will continue to do so as the world and mankind develops.
So it's like finding the perfect circle and then thinking, how can we do this? How can we make it more perfect?
Absolutely.
He was very focused on the physical proportions of a football. And he actually said, a football is round, which is to say that that particular answer might not have had quite as much flair as we have seen from Letizia previously. I think he did enough to get a point this time, but not the 3 points that we've been giving to him hitherto.
I think it's down to people's own perception. I think it's, if you feel as if something's perfect, then in your own mind it is perfect. I mean, one man's perfection is another man's inaccuracy, so I would say it's down to the individual mind.
But still, Plato would still argue that somewhere it's perfect.
Yeah, but Plato would argue about anything, and that's the other thing. It takes away the sort of the mind of an individual to be able to come up with the answer himself.
Watson, philosophically, he's thinking a little bit like Berkeley. He puts everything down to perception. Didn't really give us what he sensed was his own perception of the perfect football. So he's back to scoring his single points, I would say.
We can't. Footballs are always changing, evolving. Football and footballs are always evolving. So maybe we've not seen the greatest football or the greatest football match yet. But I think that's down to perfection. Everybody's got their own perfections and want to go beyond perfection. So maybe in time we'll develop the right shaped ball, perfectly rounded, and the perfect weight, the perfect shape, the perfect weight. But maybe we haven't made it yet.
So will we ever find the perfect weight, the perfect roundness?
No.
Again, I mean, he was wanting to stress the physical aspect of the football, but unlike Letizia, he holds open the possibility that from a technological point of view, or upon the point combined with Darwin's notion of evolution, we might reach that point where we have the perfect football that flies true through air and space. So this is an answer that deserves 3 points.
I don't think you can create the perfect football, because I've played with so many footballs, and to be honest, there's some good ones, some bad ones, and the perfect football, no one can create the perfect football.
So how would you describe the perfect football if you had to?
A ball that would zing, and I mean zing. When you would catch it, it would fly perfectly, pass it. You know when you kick a ball, you know when you kick a ball, that's a nice football, but I don't think you can get the perfect football.
You want to believe everything he says when you talk like that, don't you? And who's to say that he's not wrong? He's had plenty of experience of kicking the wrong kinds of ball. He just hasn't met the perfect football yet. But I'm sure that when he does, he will know it, and he'll hear that ball sing, and it will tell him you've just got 3 points.
No, I don't think so. Is there such a thing as the perfect ball? I know the footballs I used to play with were nowhere near as good as they are now, so maybe in that sense they have created the perfect ball compared to what I used to play with. They're a lot lighter now. They seem more rounder, if you like, as well. So maybe, albeit maybe not perfect, they're definitely better than what they used to be, and as time goes on, so maybe one day they will create the perfect ball.
So is it about evolution?
Yes.
One would have liked to have heard him develop the point quite a lot more. 0 points for Bernali.
Letizia has dropped points for the first time, but it's too late to have any impact on his league position. But 3 points from Madison and Spackman have made things interesting in the chasing pack. He will prevail and finish first of the losers. Move on to the final part to find out.